All right. We are back. We are live once again, and you are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound. Well, whether you're coming to us from your computer, tablet, your not-so-smart smartphone, I must have gave mine some sort of pills today. It's actually cooperating tonight for the broadcast, so that's always a good thing. Whether you're coming to us from wherever you're coming to us from, we appreciate everyone who has dropped in to check out the show. We appreciate all listeners, whether you're longtime listeners and whether you're newcoming listeners. As I said, this is Beyond Sight and Sound, internet radio for you, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio, the show by hunters, for hunters, from hunters. And I am your host, Josh Kimmel, aka Treasure Seeker, along with the Never Keep Him Down Dirt Bandit. How's it going, Kenny?
Man, let me tell you something. I am running the air conditioner, and that's a great thing. I got crappie in the freezer, running the air conditioner, and just got 20 acres to hunt. So, with that being said, hello, springtime.
Right. You are on the ball. You are ready to rock and roll the way it sounds. And it sounds like things are definitely warming up down there in Mississippi if you've already got the air conditioner going.
Yes, man. I think we were at 81, and I got a little stuff in the house, and the wife went over. I said, "Where are you going?" She goes, "I'm clicking this bad boy on right now." And I'm like, "All right, it's already ready to go, so turn it on." Let's go. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. Definitely nothing wrong with that.
However, that was not to rub in the northern hemisphere. You guys, it's coming.
Yeah,
Patience,
we're
it's
still
coming.
a little cool.
You know, I see a little bit of Swansea. You know, it's a balmy 42 there. But if you remember, it wasn't long ago. It was like a balmy -2. So you're on your way.
Right. Yeah. Slowly but surely, they're getting there. The hunters
That's
in
right.
Jersey, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, New York, all those states that are a little more frigid than we are right now.
Right. We got Mr. Taller Hero Digger in here. We got Mr.
Whoa.
Bill, Ohio Relic Hunter. We got Mr. Swansea. See, I know Beer Barrel's in there somewhere. Yes, he's there.
Yeah, he's always in there somewhere.
We got Rob's in there somewhere, metal detecting. He's there.
Awesome.
And I'm sure that we have more listeners that are not on a chat. Feel free to chat. Feel free to get to know one another. That's how we do things around here. And
That's right.
We may learn something.
Absolutely. And, you know, if they're not being active in the chat right now, perhaps they might find it advantageous to go and check out the Beyond Sight and Sound domain, beyondsightandsound.com, and make sure that they get themselves registered. They can even catch a show and interact in a chat there as well. It's another location to access from. And I'll just put it out there this way. The registration is there to keep updated on the show and other events that may be going on with the domain and the other goings-ons here at Beyond Sight and Sound. And for those people who are registered on the domain, I will be going through sometime... I'll give everybody until say Saturday sometime, and for all registered members on the Beyond Sight and Sound domain, they will be entered into a random drawing for a copper bullion coin.
Wow.
So we'll put it out there that way. See if anybody gets registered. We've already got some people that are registered. I was in and checked the user directory today, and I see a lot of familiar names in there. Which, if Linux is in the room, her account has been activated. So she is registered as well. I don't know if the email slipped by or what, but I saw that she was not activated yet, so I did go and activate her.
Right. Now, a couple of things here real quick. Ohio Relic Hunter says, my reverb sounds great tonight. So that's either something's not right with the sound, or something. If we clarify that, guys, if my audio is not correct, we'll try to fix it. Also, I believe that the domain says April the 2nd. And that comes from Swansea Searcher. Are you just trying to avoid April Fools? 'Cause that's what's going on, right, Josh?
Well, it would be nice to avoid it if I can.
Maybe that was April Fools. Maybe Swansea just got you and you don't know it.
Well, that's possible too. To be quite honest, I haven't looked at the date on the domain. You know, always keep them guessing, I guess. That's a good fallback stock answer. Yeah, you never know what's going to go on here.
Right. That's true, man. I'll tell you what, we are, we're got some guests coming up. We're not going to announce those, because it's just not time. We're actually, this last couple of weeks, you've noticed that we've just created some topics of interest. Interest I hope that everybody's involved in, simply because there was a little announcement somewhere that some of the other shows out there were having a little issue with 1,000 mics. So just to cover and play it on the safe side, we decided to wait a couple of weeks till maybe some of that's cleared up, and then we'll pop our guest on, because we don't want to have somebody on and then have issues. So we're just making sure everything's running smooth, and that's what's going on with that.
Right, because you always hate to go through, get everything lined up. You've had a guest kind of clear their schedule to be on the show, and then you have this broadcaster glitch that you may have had warning was coming due to different posts that you've seen, and next thing you know, there's no show, and you're apologizing to the guest and trying to reschedule, and it's just a lot of headache.
That's a road that we've been down and don't want to go down again. While we're on that topic, let me just say this. Speaking of radio internet shows, now we'll get to our main topic about videos here shortly, but there are several metal detecting radio shows out there. All of them bring their own thing to the table, and that's great. More power to them. I listen to them. I like them. But a lot of them get caught up in the ratings. Well, everybody wants to have a good rating, there's no doubt. But you know what? When you pay for the privilege to have a show, and you have great listeners such as Beyond Sight and Sound does.
Absolutely.
Whether you're rated here or rated there has no impact on what we're going to talk about. It has no impact on, who's going to be listening or whatever. We keep open lines because, frankly, if somebody has a question, we want to hear about it. and we'll answer it to the best of our ability. But ratings are ratings. Yes, we love to have good ratings. We'd love every one of our listeners to go out and tell their friends, hey, man, you got to listen to this show and rate it. You know, that's great, man. But you know what's the purpose of this show is to reach out to our listeners and talk about topics that involve our great hobby, the things that we do, whether it's on how to dig a hole, how not to dig a hole, what pin pointer we use, what machine we use, you know, whatever, because we all have questions and it all has an effect on what we do. So that being said, rate the show, guys. Come on.
We all like candy for the detecting mind.
That's right. That's right.
And, you know, there... won't lie, there have been some between-the-line messages occasionally, or shots fired across the bow, so to speak, that there are some people that may not be quite so fond that hear the show still stands. But, you know, I'm not going away. I don't see the show going away, and I don't see you going away.
Right. No. You know what? Thing about it is this is kind of like our radio show anyway. Now you have controversial radio shows, which a lot of people's into that. You know, you want to get down and dirty about some issues. There's a time and place for that. That's fine. This radio show, I think I even said this last week, this particular radio show is for everybody. Young, old, small, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Right.
We're for everybody, man.
We're getting down and dirty with the history.
But, you know, if a challenge comes up, well, I'll just leave that at that, because I'm not above making another night for another time, if you get what I'm saying. But let's get to let's get to things here. I want to give a shout out to Charles Stafford, csrelics.com. Go check that website out, guys. And he is a fantastic guy, especially down here in the southern hemisphere. Of course, we always got Rich up at Colonial Detectors. I think that would be up in kind of Swansea's neighborhood there.
Yeah.
Up in that area. So we want to give a shout out to them. I want to give a shout out to Miss Lou Relic Crew, man. We got a lot of great things fixing to go on there. So keep an eye out for that.
And when you get out on the western front, there's Evan Granger with Big Boys Hobbies.
Yes, indeed.
Or even up here in Ohio, one of Ohio relic hunters' favorites, MT Detectors with Buckeye Hunter.
There you go. There you go.
Great guy to deal with if you're looking for a mine lab.
That's
but he
right.
also carries Garrett and Tesoro. So that's something to keep in mind, too.
I believe our topic at hand tonight is videoing the hobby. Videoing our hunts, the pros and cons of the videos, and maybe the do's and don'ts.
Right. The pros and cons of the metal detecting videos, do's, don'ts. Are there, you know, do you believe that there should be a proper etiquette to the videos? Why do you do them? Is it from an educational aspect, an informational aspect, tutorials, documentation? Maybe it's just for your own nostalgia, so you can go back and see those finds yourself.
Yes.
Maybe you enjoy just sharing your finds with everyone. There's many different aspects.
I think as far as the ethics part of it, you should carry the same ethics on your videos as you would out in the field. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. I'm not one for, let's just say, bashing or any sort of stuff. I have seen videos where, you know, let's just put it this way. I want to watch videos about the finds.
Right.
That's why I want to watch the videos. And there are a lot of great hunters with great videos, and they are informative, and you can always learn something from them. The big thing is I have had people actually send me a message once. I had a guy send me a message. I will not say the name unless provoked, man. No. But anyway, says, wouldn't you be better off digging extra holes instead of videoing? My answer to that is this. You choose however to use your time. I'll choose how to use my time, and I'll leave it at that.
Right. I mean, the way I see it a lot of times is, you know, yeah, I could make a few more finds if I wasn't taking time to shoot pictures or video or whatever. But chances are good in a lot of those places, those finds that I didn't dig because I was doing video or taking still shots, the quad shots, stuff like that, are still going to be there for me the next time I go back.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, if I want to, you know, here's the thing. When I shoot a video, I'm shooting it for a bunch of reasons, not just one reason. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I'm shooting that video. Number one is the history that's coming out of the ground. Number two is the story that goes along with that piece of history. And the other part is just making sure that whoever's watching in it can get something out of it. I mean, I want them to at least get something out of it. And if they don't, then I feel like, well, you know, okay, then I need to get better on my videos. And I don't really have any negative I've had lately, and this is a topic I'm not going to get into now. An individual that, be it jealousy or be it whatever it is, wants to go on and dislike my videos. More power to you. I'll have another one waiting on you next week, so you be sure to watch it too.
Which I'll tell you, for those people who like doing that, I mean, really, some people you just can't keep happy. It doesn't matter what you do, they're still going to find a reason to click that thumbs down. And it's just as easy, if you're going to rate it, to click the thumbs up too. I mean, if you don't like the video, fine. You don't like it. No. But you don't have to go and give it a thumbs down like that. And last week I mentioned Digging Freedom from YouTube. He actually uploaded a new video the other day that pretty much puts it in a good light. It's a message to the haters, the people who like to thumb down YouTube videos. And without going into a lot of detail about it, that's one of those where if you want to check it out, look up Digging Freedom on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll see there's a video that says something in the title to the extent of a message for the haters.
Right. Well, you know what? You're going to have haters everywhere, and that's part of it. And that, it's, like I said, it's neither here or there for me, because, you know what? I'll give you another one to hate here very shortly. You can just hate on, brother, hate on. Yep. But it's like Tar Heel says, man, recording the find as it happens is priceless. And it is, because it's like, well, for example, in the, well, I don't want to bring that up, but the lead inlay that I found for that breastplate, the odds of finding another one, well, it's there. Why? Because I found that one. But they're pretty slim. So when you take a video of that, and I had to step back for a second and just pause, because I'm sitting there looking at that, and I'm like, this is a snapshot of this moment right now, and it has to be shared.
Right.
You know, and I know that the people that watch my videos appreciate it because they tell me so, and I appreciate them. And that's what makes me happy about it. I'm not out there to publicize Dirt Bandit 33. I mean, it's not about me. It's about what I find. I had a guy, and you even know about this. This was pretty recently, that contacted me out of Alabama, and well, we were talking about doing T-shirts, you know, Hardcore Relic Recovery, and have, you know, the silhouette Dirt Bandit 33 on it. And I got to thinking about it, you know, and I'm like, why? Why do I need to do that? I mean, I'm not trying to sell myself. I'm not trying to stand out above what I dig. So I decided not to do that. I simply have a website through Amazon, hardcorerelicrecovery.com, and that's about as far as I go with it. I don't need my picture on a T-shirt. I don't see the point in that for me. I would rather get out there and show the video and have, you know, everybody looking at maybe a Dragoon button or something like that, focusing on the finds.
Right, because sometimes you make those finds and it's good to get that video clip and there, even if it's just for a small period of time, when you make that find, and those of you that do these videos and you come up with these finds, you know what I'm talking about. There for that, even if it's just, you know, 30 seconds or whatever, time just kind of stops. And it's you and that find, nothing else. You just connected with the past. You're the first person to touch that item since the last person lost it, however many years ago. And if that find could talk and tell its tale, man, the stories you'd hear, and a lot of times it's just, it's a rush. I mean, you've just got to stop and sit down and take a minute and think about, you know, how fortunate you are to have found that item.
Right. And you know what really goes well is when you spend, for me, for example, if I spend time doing research on an area and I at least think I have some idea of what happened there and what I'm looking for, and I get in there, and, you know, I'm in there for a while, and then finally I find something, and then it starts adding up, and then the story starts to come unfold depending on what you're finding. And then after everything's said and done, your video's done, you get home that night, it's like, man, I just did all that research, and I was actually right on. Those are awesome videos, because let me tell you something, that is not the case a lot of times. I have done what I call extensive research on areas, and I get in there and walk for hours and hours. I'm like, how am I missing the mark? Well, guess what? History doesn't always have it right. So,
exactly.
You know, you go back and start over.
And, you know, not only do we have that aspect of them, we've also got the educational aspect of, say, the story behind the find, or the history that is in the area that you're hunting and why you're there. Or last night, Detect America's T&L. Man, got to give a shout out to Frank there from Detect America. He did a great, just excellent job of explaining the certain types of digging tools you may want to use in certain areas, and the proper way to go about cutting that plug so that you can conceal that you've been there. Because ultimately, in the end of it all, it's the work that they don't see that keeps us coming back. When you can hide the traces that you've been there, and granted, sometimes it is hard, but when you're able to do that, I mean, people don't see that you've been there. There's no dirt laying on the ground. Everything's back prim and proper, whether you're on a manicured yard or what have you. And they're telling their friends about it a lot of times. Well, hey, so-and-so hunted my yard, and it's fine, you know. So next thing you know, you may have someone else saying, well, hey, I got a good report from you, from John down the street. You know, why don't you check out my yard?
Right. Absolutely. You know, the things that you got to be careful on these videos, especially the people that are just getting into the hobby and they want to start, you know, doing their videos and stuff. It's the little things you have to keep in mind. You know, first of all, if you've got permission to hunt, not all landowners want that video going on that property. And you need to make sure of that, because there's nothing worse than having this awesome place to hunt and you lose it simply because you forgot to mention you have a video camera that you're going to use. You know, that's terrible.
Yeah.
And I always make sure, hey, I'm going to video this. Don't put their house in it. Don't put any of the local landmarks, because then you know what's going to happen if you do that.
Yeah, because see, and this is the part where there are some pros and cons. Our videos can be a bit of a double-edged sword, because you have to respect the landowner's privacy. But that's not only just for them, that's also for you, because if you get those certain shots in that footage, and people can recognize that area, if you were making good finds, next thing you know, there may be 2 or 3 other people knocking on their door. And the landowner may tell you the next time you come back, well, I'd rather you don't come back, because now I'm getting bothered by other people.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, not only have you put them at an inconvenience, but you've just lost a good spot.
Right. Well, and you know, I've heard some people say, well, their videos are kind of boring because they're just focused, you know, on the ground. They don't do anything like this. I've actually heard those remarks from other people, and what they don't understand is they're probably in a spot that, and if you'll notice, those videos that do that, they're finding a lot of good finds. And
right, exactly.
And if you show too much, and you're in an area, then, you know, unfortunately, not all of us carry the same code of ethics, and the next time you go back, there'll either be 4 or 5 cars there and 40 holes for you to fill up.
Right. So it's one of those deals where you've got to respect the landowner's privacy as well, plus it helps you, and, you know, I've been in spots, too, where they don't want you doing any video, they don't want any photos of the house or of them or what have you. And it does make it a little hard then, because you've got to wait till you get away from there and then maybe talk a little bit about the area in your wrap-up, or even show the finds once you get to another spot. Say, well, you know, I hit these at the last place, but I couldn't video there. Here they are, and now we're on to the next find.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. If somebody, you know, I'd rather you not video, that's cool, man, because I'm here for the finds. The video is just something that I do to share with other individuals, and they're not going to get to see this area, and that's just the way it is. But I'm there for the finds, and I never have a problem with it. But you know what? It's usually not a problem.
Right. Many cases it is not. And it's handy. I mean, there's hunts I'll go out on. I've got the camera with me, and I just don't record anything because there's not really much of anything to record. There's not anything exciting going on. But there's also those times where you never know when that just, you know, super nice find is going to pop out of the ground. So it's nice to have your camera ready in case you want it. Whether that's with a detecting doodad camera mount on your detector, or whether you're just carrying it in your pocket, or whatever the case may be here. We've got a couple of callers coming in here. We've got Ryan Holloway from Ring Wars 2015, as well as Jim Fielding on the line now. We'll go with Ryan first. You're on the air.
Hey guys, how's it going? I just thought I'd call in and say hi and check in with the show.
How's it going, buddy? You got your dive gear all shined up and ready to go?
I got everything all shined up, ready to go. I'm just waiting for, there's still some ice on the lakes yet. That should be coming off pretty soon, and I'll be finishing my open water for my scuba course in the beginning of May, and then it's all gung-ho from there.
All right. We were even talking about that the other week, that once you get that, we'd like to hear from you again and see how things are going for you with that, what sort of finds you're making, and just in general, how that is all moving along for you.
I'm looking at a Canon underwater camera, good to 100 feet. I'm going to looking for a mount just so I can mount it to my Excalibur, and I'll be sharing some videos on my YouTube page.
Awesome.
Outstanding.
Definitely. And Ryan does a nice job with his videos as well.
Yes, he does.
So that's
I
always
get
good.
a few more out than what I do, but sometimes I get a little lazy.
Well, we'd all like to get a few more of them out, I'm sure, but sometimes it just doesn't pan out that way. Like
Right
last
now.
weekend, I was out hunting, but I couldn't take video. It was too windy. The audio was all garbled.
Right. Now, you have, Ryan, you've already started another contest?
Right now, actually, I'm just running the regular Ring Wars with 4 divisions. It has all rings, precious metals rings, silver coins, and keys. And that's Ring Wars 2015 if you search it under groups on Facebook.
Nice. Yeah, so you guys go check that out, and I'm sure Ryan appreciate that. I know last year, or this last fall, I believe it was, when they gave the number of rings for the diggers, the amount of rings that was found almost fell out of my chair. I couldn't believe I couldn't believe somebody could find that many rings. That's just
they find quite a
freaked
few.
me out.
Well, it's all what you look for.
Yes, it is.
And how persistent you are, because that is relevant to time spent in the field.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best, man, and keep us, keep us in the loop and get some videos of that underwater stuff, and we'll definitely have you on the show when you get some of that stuff going, and we can get in depth with your. Well, that's a good one. And your new depth.
Yep, definitely will. I'll stay in touch, and I'll get back with you guys.
All right, buddy.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the call, Ryan.
Yep. I'll listen offline.
All right. Mr. Jim Fielding. How is
Hey,
it
guy.
down there in Florida?
It's actually been really nice. I've actually been in Fort Lauderdale for the last 3 or 4 days down South Florida ways, and it's been hot down there. It's been like in the upper 80s.
Wow,
but
good old
back in
Fort
Orlando.
Lauderdale.
I know. I'm back in Orlando, and I'm freezing when it's down in the 70s.
Let me
Man, I don't know if I
ask
can
you a
take this.
question about
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale. I used to, in the 80s, I bartended at Penrod's.
Yeah.
Is it still there?
Oh, yeah. I
Wow.
don't think it is. Do you remember Trader Jack's?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's not there either.
Wow.
the
Going
beach
well,
spot-
that's gone too.
Yeah, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, so in the late 50s and the 60s, 70s on upwards, and most of the really bars along the waterfront are gone. The real estate's just too valuable. They're all condos, and all the wealthy folks live there now. But in its day, yeah, Penrod's was a cool place to go. So was
Oh, it
Trader's.
was, yes, it was, let's just say during spring break, there was no other place like it.
That's right. After spring break, man, that place, actually Fort Lauderdale, we drove off most of the spring breakers to Daytona by putting up family-friendly walls and arresting everybody with an open can of beer. So people went elsewhere, and I think the economy suffered for it. But anyway, it's a great show, guys. It sounds really good. You were talking about what you can video and what you can't, what's good and what you can't. As you know, I've been running my SQ Engineer channel for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now.
Right, and doing a very good job putting those videos together.
Well, you know what? And what happened was my wife bought me Avid Studio Pro, which is basically almost a commercial brand of editing software. And it sat in my closet for like 2 years. Because I didn't have an HD camera, and I wasn't about to go out and spend money on one at that point in time, because they were way up. You know how expensive they were for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I one day found a little Samsung sports cam for it was $107, I think. And it runs HD, and it runs, it was really, and it was called a W300 Samsung sports cam. It's good underwater up to 15 feet deep, and it's shockproof and dirt-proof and waterproof, everything.
It's the best thing to have in the field.
Yeah, you know what? And everyone thinks it's a cell camera. Every time I take this thing out, everybody goes, "Who are you calling?" I'm like, "I'm calling Big Daddy Photo because I'm going to take your picture here." It's a bright yellow camera, and it shoots. Well, you've seen the HD video on my channel. I shoot everything with this little camera.
Oh, yeah.
I bought a little teeny tripod to screw it to, with those bendy legs. I think it's called a juggy or a jumbly or something, and you can twist it to tree limbs and tie it to your foot if you want.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Kenny. It's just a little screw to the thing. And what you were talking about as far as videoing, I've run into that myself a few times on my YouTube channel. I mean, this is even on a public beach. We had one video with Patty in it. We were hunting. I think we called it Jewelry Beach or something, and it got like 14,000 views to begin with, and then after that, Cocoa Beach was covered with people hunting. I mean, it was just you couldn't find anything after that. So, and of course I say, here we are on Cape Canaveral Beach, and we're digging jewelry like crazy today, and that was the wrong thing to say.
See, and there you go. That's part of the cons sometimes.
Right. If we hunt on private land and parks, we've gone to great lengths to make sure we don't show any significant, like a pavilion or the office, like that. Where Rob and I found those old silver coins in that big cache we found under a tree. We were very careful not to show the immediate surroundings other than where my car was parked. It was pointing at the ground the whole time, because we'd have people out there digging up every tree out there. So, yeah, it's a very significant point you guys made, watch where you point the camera, because people, everybody in the world views these things. I've had people in Brazil and England, I've had people write in and say, show more jewelry. As a comment.
And, whether people realize it or not, we do watch these videos, and we can watch them very intently at times. I had a gentleman that does a YouTube channel out of a neighboring state that he had uploaded a video. This has been, a year or so ago. He had uploaded a video on his channel, and within, hours of him uploading it, I had seen the video and sent him a private message right away and told him, said, you did a pretty good job at the video. Congrats on the finds. And you did really good, too, at not disclosing where you were or anything. However, that being said, next time you get back into my neck of the woods, give me a call. I'll come out and hunt with you, because I told him exactly where he was.
Yeah.
Well, it's another very significant aspect of this that doesn't really have to do. It's kind of on parallel with videos, but it's concerning Facebook, and I don't know if anybody knows this or not. I ran into this a few years ago. yeah, I've seen you guys on Facebook looking around at all the treasure, all the metal detecting sites and the beginner sites, and even the advanced club sites. And people are posting, look, here's what I found. Like you're talking about gold rings and jewelry. And I don't think they realize, but there is software that you can buy that will, almost all smartphones now, if you're using a smartphone, and a lot of people use smartphones to take their pictures, that GPS stamps that photograph where you are.
Right, the geotagging on the photos.
That's right. And anybody who likes your jewelry, if you go in on the kitchen table, you take a couple photos of all your gold and your 20,000 quarters and all your silver, they know right where you live,
Exactly, and that's the first thing I do when I switch to a new cell phone is disable that geotagging.
Right, and that's what they have to do. And honestly, I don't think anybody realizes that.
No, a lot of people have made that mistake where the next thing you know, you think you're in a good spot nobody knows about, you snap a few pictures, you post it on Facebook, you go back to that site and there's 3 other people there.
And including your house. If somebody knows you've got $15,000 of the jewelry in your home, it makes for a great conversation piece among all the thieves. Like, hey, I got an idea.
Exactly.
And how people go on Facebook and say, you know what, we're going to Europe for a month next, in a couple of weeks.
Yep, and you've just broadcasted it to the world. They're going, hey, they're going to be gone that week. Let's go get that jewelry. They're going to be gone,
and they got about $15,000 worth of jewelry. Let's go play. So
that's why I keep mine locked up in a safe or at the bank.
That's right. That's a good point. I just thought I'd make that point because I don't believe a lot of people know that.
Yeah, it's easy not to even give it a thought.
Right, and sometimes it becomes a game of one-upmanship, especially on Facebook. Like, oh, you found 3 wings? Well, look at this. I found a couple of silver dimes, a couple silver quarters, a gold necktie, and it's tit for tat. They're just stacking up the finds, and they may end up losing a lot of stuff. We've had a couple break-ins here in Florida. We've had at least 3 break-ins where they. Right. The first one in 2013. I had a Minelab Explorer with 3 or 4 different size coils. It was in our locked garage, locked in the trunk of our car, locked in the garage. And somebody managed to get a hold of a key, or a locksmith just walked in here, walked out to the garage, opened the garage door, opened the car, opened the trunk, and just walked off with about $5,000 worth of metal detecting equipment. It was so you gotta be careful what you post and where.
Right. That's anyway, I'll even, I won't mention the gentleman's name because I'm sure he'd really rather not want his name known. But a number of years ago, he had made a very, very nice coin find. And, he had posted it on some forums, and he had even, it may have even been in a couple of magazines, photos of it or whatever. And, we'll say a few weeks down the road, something like that, somebody contacts this gentleman out of the blue, say, hey, I'm going to be in your area doing some hunting. I don't normally hunt with other people, but it'd be nice to maybe get together, and who knows, maybe I'll learn something.
Right, absolutely.
And he just, for whatever reason, something, he just didn't quite feel right that day. So he's like, well, I need to let people know, where I'm going to be and take precautions, we'll say.
Sure, absolutely.
And after he had hunted for a while, he made his way back home to find out that his house had been broken into while he had been out hunting.
Well, there you have it. There you have it.
They never got the coin. The coin wasn't there at the house. But we're thoroughly convinced that's exactly what was going on. They were intentionally trying to draw him away from the house so they could get in there and look for that coin. And unfortunately, it did come at the cost of a family pet.
Now, how sad is that, man? I mean, does it really have to come down to that? Right. I mean, go out and get your own, for for one. And know this, if you come in my house to get one of mine, there's several things waiting for you here. So, you know,
Look for tripwires.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty
That's right.
pathetic.
Tread carefully.
But you know, to
Yeah.
get back on some of the stuff with the videos that we do, and Jim, you have been in this hobby for a long time. You were in the hobby before video in this hobby was ever even thought about.
Oh
And-
yeah,
and-
we used to do charcoal drawings because we had no cameras.
right.
Just kidding.
That's awesome. I would love to see some of that actually.
They'd get out
And-
the stone and the chisel and carve
Right,
the
we-
hieroglyph right
Carve it
there.
and chisel it into a rock, our detector. But yeah, it was long before all the easy videos. It was you could take an 8mm camera along with you if you wanted to carry 40 pounds worth of metal. You know, with you, that was not practical for sure.
Well, you know what? The videos now, and a lot of people are getting better with it. I don't know if it's because they see what some of the veterans are doing with their videos or whatever, but the key to making your video, for one, is really bringing light to what you just brought out of the ground. That's the key to the video, is put the attention on the target, on the history that just come out of the ground, because that's why you're there to begin with. That's the whole purpose, is to preserve that target. And
That's right.
to back that up, if you do your research, now this is in my opinion, and what I do is I try to have a story behind what I'm digging. Now you can't, you know, you're going to dig stuff that maybe later you actually find out what it is. I'll go through my books. I'm like, I can't believe I just found this. So now I know what this is. I've seen them before, but I'm talking about the ones that, for an example, video I did a while back when I was trying to find some frags or maybe a shell from the USS Lexington that was, you know, on the Tennessee River pounding a bluff. And I went in there and I found fragments. And since that particular boat, there were 3 boats, and that particular boat only shot that particular shell, I knew exactly where that shell come from. And so when you sit there and you're videoing that, or you're thinking about it, and you're like, how cool is that to be sitting there looking at this piece of history, knowing exactly where it came from. And of course, if you'd have been there, you know, 151 years ago,
You'd have been in a bad spot.
you would have been in a very bad spot. So to be in that situation, but to have the privilege to video it, you have to share that moment. That's just me. And I think people who are into this hobby and who want to get into this hobby, I think it does them well if they are learning a little bit about what they're seeing. I'll just leave
I
it at
agree.
that.
Oh, absolutely. When I uploaded that hunting season is open on my YouTube channel, Ohio Metal Detecting, people saw that gaslight valve, and I actually got a few messages going, wow, thanks. I've never even known what them are. You know, how did you know that? Did you research that after you found it, or what? No, I'm fortunate enough to have known what that was, because those who have come before me have told me, you know, years ago when I've found them. And
Right. That's really cool.
it was actually able to educate a few of the viewers.
Well, you know, I had a similar response from, it was a beach detecting video. I was just lumbering along the beach, digging up. You know, it was good. You know, you can tell a lot of times over here on the east coast of Florida, and especially in the middle of the state here, the sand turns a certain way when it's good for digging jewelry. You know, you see mixed shell mixed with lighter colored sand, and you're like, hot dog. And you go out, and usually you'll start finding rings and some nice coins. And at the end of the hunt, I had a class ring that was really mangled, not mangled, but covered with sea life. It had been down there so long. So I ended up, part of the video, I put in the beginning of the video, you know, this particular part, later we are going to do some electrolysis on it to remove some of the growth.
Right.
And so later on, I set up my tripod out in the garage, and I put that thing in there and plug the motorcycle battery and let it run for a while. And I had somebody comment, somebody from Arizona, that said, we finally saw how that's done. Because we thought it was terribly complex, but it's not. And I said, I'm glad. And they asked me if I'd make a clear, dedicated video for that. Sadly, I never have. But you're right. People will learn things, and it's really gratifying when they say, "Gee, I had no idea how to do that until I saw your video." It's really a good feeling.
Absolutely. I love getting messages like that from people when they just take the time to drop you a line and say, "Hey, I caught your last video. I really appreciate it. It was enjoyable or educational or entertaining, whatever the reason was." It's nice to at least get that message every now and then to let you know, it's not necessarily all for naught. It is helping some people out there.
Yes,
right.
and let's... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ken.
Well, I was just, I'm reading the chat here. I'm always reading the chat for the most part. And, some of the questions on here, for example, Tar Heels, like, what's the best length for a YouTube detecting video? How long is too long? And what a great question that is. And the best way to answer that is, if you have a story to tell, and I'll put it to you this way. If you're the historian, you're out there digging, if it's interesting to you, it's probably going to be that interesting to someone else that's into the hobby. So if you've got a story, for example, to tell about a certain area you're finding stuff, then, that's a 25, 30-minute video. And the best way to know if you're doing it right is you can look on YouTube and see how long they're watching that video. But I guess the best way to say this, if you've got a story to tell and you are accurate in the story you're telling about the certain things you are finding, I don't think the video can be too long.
Right.
If you are talking, you talk yourself out of the knowledge. In other words, if you keep on and you have to repeat yourself, or maybe you have out-talked your knowledge of the subject you're trying to do, then you're too long.
That's right. And it's actually more about video than talking. They like to see action. I know that. I have some of my videos ran like you're talking about, kind of like 18 minutes. And people, I checked the numbers, and they were watching the first 3 minutes, and then they were gone. Right. So I stuck short. I'm right. The really popular ones I have that run more than 10,000 views are all around 5.5 minutes long, and some are as short as 3 minutes. But I think as long as you keep the action going, as long as you're finding things, you show some enthusiasm when you do find them, and get some good camera angles. Nobody wants to stare at the ground all the time. Move the jewelry around in your hand. You don't stand, well, here's my ring. You want to move it around a little bit if you can show the 10K on it. And people love bling, and they love seeing it move around. After a while, just talking off camera with it in your hand starts to get a little long, and then you want to, people leave the channel. So I think if you keep some action in it,
right.
Most of mine, that were pretty popular, like a little over 5 minutes long.
Well,
right.
you know
Some
what?
people...
Something else too. Sorry, Josh.
That's
not
all right.
Everybody can just talk up a storm. Not everybody has that. They can shoot a great video, but whether it's camera shy or whether not everybody can do it. Put some music to it. Put something that goes with what you're doing, and run a short, be it 5-10 minutes. If you got some good little music to it to back up what you're doing, that will gain a lot of attention as well, because there's nothing worse than listening to a video with somebody going, well, and then I went, it doesn't matter how good the video is.
Yeah.
You're not going to watch it. Because,
Exactly right.
So not everybody can do that, and it's not a bash, it's just a tip. Put a little music to it, show your finds, because that's what everybody wants to see. They want to see the finds.
Right.
Exactly. Or your technique.
Yeah. And
that's a
some
good
people, some people just have a limited amount of time that they can dedicate to watching these videos. So some people, they try to keep them, 5-10 minutes in length. Some of mine are, within that range. Some of them are 15-20 minutes. And then I also upload video archives of the shows on Ohio Metal Detecting. And you can see, going in and looking at the different videos, the hunting season is open video. It's had over 200 views on it, whereas the last show archive may only have 40-50 views, because people a lot of times don't have the time to sit down and just listen to an hour to an hour and a half video or whatever. But some people, that's how they follow the show. So I still continue to upload those YouTube archives. And some people, I even got a message a while back where a guy has flat out told me before, I don't have time to watch videos that long, never done it before. And the other week he sent me a message, he says, I have never in my life watched a video of, an hour to an hour and a half long on YouTube until the Beyond Sight and Sound show with Mo DePinto and the XP Deus.
Outstanding.
And I've listened to that multiple times and will continue to reference it. Why? Not because he was bored that day and didn't have anything else to do, but it was a topic that was pertinent to him. He had interest in it. So in that aspect, he's going, well, yeah, it's an hour and a half video, but it's something I want to hear about. So when it is, even though it's long, when it is a topic that they are interested in, like you said, Kenny, they will watch it.
Oh, absolutely. And, the first video I done to, some have watched it, some hadn't, but it's Hardcore Relic Recovery, where I'm repelling and getting those frags from those high spots off the Tennessee River. I probably got at least 5 more. I'm going to kind of call them mini episodes, because there's a story behind it. You can't just shoot this video like a normal video. You have to put a little something in there special to bring out what you're trying to do. And I'll probably have part 2, 3, 4, and 5 is the way I figure it. And part 2 will be coming out. It'll have to be coming out, of course, I would say sometime at the end of July or maybe around August is when that'll start. But if you got a project like that, and you put a little music to it, you get everybody pumped up for what's about to happen, and you're accurate with your story. Don't try to be something that you're not. You go in there and you be who you are. You have the research to back yourself up with, and go in there and hunt. Because you know what? And the thing about it is, I was a little nervous when I first did that first one, because I don't put nothing anywhere. You either find it or you don't. That's the hunt. The whole time I was repelling off of that, and I'm having back issues anyway, and it was a rough hunt, and trying to video that thing. And I'm like, please let me find something, because this is a real hunt. I don't plan anything, and I'm not suggesting everybody else does, but I've heard this and that, but it is what it is. So you're wanting to find that find, and as soon as that big iron hit, I was like, oh baby, it can only be one thing on this bluff. There's nobody down here grilling out. So you pretty well know what that's going to be. And sure enough, it was half of that, almost a half a cannonball frag. And then there's a piece of Hotchkiss on there, and then that just set the whole tone. So
Have you ever been out there, Kenny, and you found something and you didn't have your camera with you? And you thought,
Many
"Gee, I should've
times.
brought the camera."
Many times. Yeah, I've actually found 2 plates when I didn't have my camera.
Or the batteries are dead, or the SD
No.
card's
I don't
full.
get caught with that now.
Well,
Well,
that's
yeah,
good, because it's happened to some of the rest of us before.
Yeah, no, I try to run out of the battery situation, but the point is tonight's show is for the hobbyists that love watching the videos, the hobbyists that creates the videos, and hopefully there's listeners that would love to get into the hobby and maybe create some videos that would be all new to us to see.
Oh, yeah.
So the thing about it is, everybody that's listening tonight, if you're not on the group, hey, request to join Beyond Sight and Sound. We can't watch your stuff if we don't know where to go to watch it. Let's help each other out. Let's share our. That's my problem. I am so into what I'm doing in my videos. I had somebody tell me, he says, "You already have 50,000 views on those videos." Well, yeah, maybe, but it just shows you I'm not into it for that. I make the video, but I don't spend a lot of time putting it out in other areas. So if anybody want to help me with that, that's fine. But let's do it for everybody. Tar Heel, let's do it for everybody that does videos, because they need to be watched. It's history. I mean,
Absolutely.
When it comes out of the ground, it's only going to come out once.
That's right.
That's right. And I do find it is, and this is just I'm not trying to sugarcoat it here, but it's not easy to detect and make a video at the same time.
No, it's not.
I know I've been on the beach hunting, and I've got the camera, and it does slow you down a bit. Most of the ones I do like that, I actually do plan them, and the ones I've planned have had much more success than the ones I haven't. But I've started doing videos, and I'm like, I'll make a subconscious decision. I'll not gonna video today. I'm just gonna hunt. I want to find some stuff.
Right.
It's difficult enough to find things when you're just concentrating your machine and your targets along with your camera, but it can be done, and it can be enjoyable if you know how to balance the two.
Right.
Right,
that's
and
exactly
many of us
right.
that do that have no problem with it, because we have that passion for not only finding the history, but sharing it with others as well. It looks like we're joined with New Hampshire here. Swansea.
Mr.
Hey, Josh, how are you?
Swans.
All right.
I just wanted to bring up the fact, I think I've told you, Josh, before, then Kenny just touched on this topic, that a lot of people that haven't got into this hobby so much, like myself, I watched these metal detecting videos for 2 years before I even bought my first detector.
Right, that's a good point. The videos that any of us do out there, you don't realize the people that it could inspire to get into the hobby themselves.
Oh, it did. And another thing, too, and another part of this, too, is, Frank from Detect America and Kenny and Denny and himself and you yourself, Josh, a lot of this has helped me a lot with target identification. Once it comes out of the ground, I don't know what the hell these buckles are. I don't know what these buttons are. I don't know what these age of these dandy buttons or these flat buttons are, but I've seen enough of these guys pull them out of the ground, so when I pull my own out of the ground, I can say, oh, that's a Tom bag button. This is what it dates to. This is a War of 1812 button. This is what it dates to. That's another real big positive a lot of these videos are putting out there that people aren't realizing. Myself, I wouldn't know what to do with half of these things. I probably would have thrown it in a junk pile. I didn't know what a bail seal was until I saw somebody post it on a video. I thought it was just a stamped piece of lead.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I saw a video, that was sometime last year, actually. The guy had uploaded it, and honestly, the name escapes me right offhand, so I apologize for that, but he had uploaded it. I was like the first person to see the video, And he's going through there, you know, he's, hey, I found this find, I made this find, oh, here's a cool old lock, and it was cool. But then he goes to the next clip and he's like, oh, here's a piece of, I don't know, it looks like some piece of decorative furniture hardware, and just went on from there. I sent him a message right away and I told him, I'm like, hey, don't throw that away. The item that's in, you know, a minute and 58 seconds into your video is not a decorative piece of furniture hardware. It is, in fact, a Civil War era heel plate. You know, and he hadn't even realized. You know, and there's...
I did the same thing with it. I got lucky enough to have a buddy of mine dig up last fall a piece of an ox hame, you know, the little knob end that comes off of an ox hame, and he thought it was an end of a walking stick or a cane. And I said, right. I know I've seen that somewhere on YouTube before, and I'm pretty sure that's what they call an ox hame. And he goes, what the hell is an ox hame? I said, I really don't know, but I know that's what it's called, so don't throw it away.
Yeah, Google it.
Exactly. And in the other respect, too, I want to say that the one con I can come up with as far as these metal detecting videos go, and also, like your other phone caller had brought in there, parts of the Facebook part of it is it's turning into against people, too much of a competition thing, more than just sharing what you're finding out there and saying, hey, that's great, you found that. The competition part of it drives me absolutely nuts. I don't know why it's a competition. We're in the hobby for the same reasons. I'm happy to see what anybody else digs, and I think that everybody else that really is passionate about this and really is into it should not be jealous or put in a competition situation to feel that somebody outdid you, regardless if you're 2 years into the hobby or 30 years into the hobby.
Absolutely.
I think that's just being human. I think all of us humans have a bit of that going on, and I absolutely agree with you on that. I've seen some. It's actually taken some away from the hobby, that kind of jealousy and one-upmanship. I agree with you completely on that.
Yeah. The other day, Al Fu from Al's All Metal Detecting on YouTube and Facebook, he was out hunting a beach, and the way it's looking, he recovered a Spanish 8 Real, quite possibly. And, you know, I'm just ecstatic for him. I mean, great, more power to him, congratulations, I'm thrilled. But I'm sure there's probably some out there that are going, oh, well, that should have been my find, or now I'm upset.
Well, that's going to be some guy that detected that beach many times, or even if they brought Al there in the past, I saw the same video, Josh, is going to say that, well, what are you doing back at that beach, even though it's public land, saying, what are you doing back there when I brought you there the first time, or I've been there several times and I didn't find it. So it's that type of crap, and it's the people that make the accusations that it's a planted find. You know, I've seen that plenty of times on people's videos, in their comments. That stuff drives me nuts. If you're not going to be watching the videos for the appreciation of what these guys are doing, don't watch the video. Don't thumbs down it. Just don't watch it.
And you saw the video yourself, you know, so you know what I'm talking about. And you could sense the enthusiasm. I mean, I thought Al was going to stroke out right there on the beach.
I private messaged Al about the same thing. I said, Al, you know, in your heart condition, you should have sat down, got a cold drink, let him run out to the water and clean it off. By the time he comes back, you should have popped a Valium or something, because, buddy, I swear to God, that was your last video, and we were going to see you hard out on that beach.
That's what I thought. But, you know, he was a trooper. He toughed it out. He made it through, so that's good.
And I'm hoping it's legit for him 100%, I'll tell you, because the panic that he went through and the excitement and everything, I really hope for Al's sake that is one legit coin.
Yeah, he worked hard for it. He deserves it, and very proud of him if that does turn out to be the real deal. And right now it's looking very possible that it is. Excellent.
That's good news. Well, guys, I just want to give my opinion into it. And again, you know, like I said, it's just going to inspire a bunch of people, which all of you guys have done. You guys have been doing this for a long time. It inspired me to buy a metal detector. I was researching for a couple of years. I said, you know what? Let me see what people are putting on YouTube. Let me see what people are putting on the internet. And that's exactly why I bought my first detector, was after watching all these guys, finding all these different cool things, whether it be in the Northeast, whether it be in the Midwest, whether it be down south. It was kind of neat seeing it and saying, hey, you know what? There's got to be something out there for everybody to find.
That's right. Thanks for the call, Swansea.
All right, thanks, guys.
And speaking of long-time people in the hobby, we're joined with another Mr. Chris Engel.
Hello, Brother Josh. Hello, Brother Kenny.
How goes it, sir?
Good, good. How you guys doing?
All right.
Well, great show tonight. I tell you, I've never done a video, but I've been out there hunting a lot. But I do really enjoy watching the time it takes for people to make the videos, to share the history with us. And, you know, we need to look at also on the backside of us, the time it takes to upload the videos, to edit them. And that's something I think I really appreciate, the people that do the videos, to share with us.
Yeah, there can be a lot of time involved in it. I know Charlie, he puts in just a phenomenal amount of time with his Stealth Digger videos. And, you know, sometimes it takes quite a while for me, too. I had a bit of an issue with last week's show archive where I had actually been trying to upload it for 2 days before I finally got it to take.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's the way it goes. And there is that aspect, too, with these videos, that for many of us viewing the videos, and Kenny is especially good at this, you feel like you're actually right there along with them, right next to them with the hunt.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Kenny and I talked about that. You know, it's not only just finding and saving the history, but just to take the time to kind of give a little bit of background on the history. Just kind of take a minute to just kind of enjoy your surroundings, enjoy what's around you, and share that with everybody. It puts that personal touch, and it adds so much more to the video when you do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And for some of us, we may not even realize that little bit of extra time that we take could make all the difference for one of the viewers. You know, much like Jim had mentioned, you know, sometimes take a little bit of time and, you know, roll that piece of jewelry around. Let them see it from different angles and whatnot. People love to see that stuff. They really do.
Yes, they do. And you know, and you got a lot of times add some humor to it. I know, and Kenny and I were up there on that bluff in Vicksburg, and I found that second ladder boar. Both of us just started dying laughing. I mean, you know, you think, what are you laughing about? Look what you found. You ought to be just, you know, just flabbergasted. But there's more to it than that.
Oh yeah, absolutely there is. And you know, people not only do they like to be educated and see different ways of doing things, but we all like a good laugh from time to time, or some good entertainment value.
Yes.
Or if you get one of those very serious videos, you know, they some people really like that sort of thing too. I mean, I've got a couple of ring returns up on my channel that are some of my most popular videos, because everybody, whether we like to admit it or not at times, there's so much bad news in the media that everybody likes to see a happy ending.
Happy ending, yes. And after I've watched a ton of videos, and I don't think I've actually viewed a bad one. I mean, I think they're all good. I find something new and exciting and educational in every one of them I watch.
Right. Exactly. 9440, you're on Beyond Sight and Sound. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, this is Digging Freedom.
Well, hello, Frank.
Hey, how you doing, man?
All right.
I just thought I'd call in and, you know, thank you guys for the shout-out last week. And I have a little bit of a different insight, I think, on detecting sites. I'm more geared towards the respect of the site, and I think some people lose that, you know.
And people can definitely see that in your videos.
Yeah, that's what I try to incorporate, and I think for the most part people get it. But I'm trying to just get people to understand, some of this ground is sacred ground, and
Exactly, it's to be respected, not taken for granted.
Exactly, and I guess more of that was instilled when I started watching Kenny's videos, and seeing the respect he had for where he was. And you could really tell the passion he had. So I was
Absolutely.
that's what I want to do. That's how I want my videos to be. And I want people to, understand, when you go on an old home site, you don't know what tribulations those people had, the hard work they had, just making, working all day to put food on the table or whatever. And here you're recovering relics from, those people that are pretty much dead and gone, and they deserve a little bit of respect. And when you find a button or you find, a horseshoe, you find a coin or whatever, you have to kind of soak it in and go, who is the last person who had it? Where am I at? And, what do I have in my hand?
And sometimes in those cases with those finds, it's a chance for their story to continue.
Exactly. It's kind of like you're bringing their life back, in a way.
Right. Especially with the work you're doing, donating your finds to the local historical society.
Well, it's a small society. It was just a couple of people that they bought a building, and they thought it was important to preserve the history of the town. And I figured, I'm going to pay them a visit, and I want to get to know more about the history of, this town. And my God, the amount of wealth of information they've given me so much information, it's unbelievable. They gave me stuff from archives that they don't show anybody, because they understand what I'm trying to do. And I'm kind of lucky. Some people have told me don't go to historical societies because they'll stop you or they'll try and take everything you have.
Right. Some do seem to not be as passionate about what we're doing as we are.
Right. And these people are like, these are your property. We're humbled that you want to donate them, but they're your property. We'll display them, and whenever you want them back, they're yours. Right. So they don't want to keep anything. They just want to show, different people of the community how the community started.
Mm-hmm.
And
can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Good to see you back. Sorry, I wondered Frank. What happened.
Yeah, I don't know there. Frank, thanks for the shout out, man, and appreciate that. I've been sitting here trying to talk to him, and it just wouldn't work. But whatever. But anyway, got that resolved. But I appreciate that shout out, and there's a lot of them that you gave that to that was well deserving, and I actually agreed with them. There's so many videos that I watch out there as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And for the listeners, if they haven't taken the opportunity to go and check out Diggin' Freedom's channel, check it out. He does have some good videos up there. He's got some videos up there of an upcoming project he'll be working on. Nice. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, for the people who like to thumb down videos, he's got a nice to-the-point message up there for those sorts of people.
I'm gonna go look at that. When you do these videos, you be passionate about what you're doing. If you're not passionate about what you're out doing, you probably shouldn't be doing it anyway. It's with the Civil War stuff. In where I'm at, it's when I do the reading that I do, and the research that I do, and then I go out and I find, let's say, like right over here, I have a 69 caliber mini ball with a cross carved into it. Now, how can you not get passionate.
Yeah, how
about
can you
that
not get
find.
excited about that? That's a very personal item.
I mean, think about it. He's sitting there waiting on orders. It's probably cold. Hopefully he was close to a fire. You don't know. He's sitting there and a man of faith, and he carves this cross into that bullet. And how he dropped it or whatever is, we'll never know. But there's a personal relationship with that. And it's just remarkable to me. It gives me chills, and I have to do videos on it, and it needs to be shared. That stuff come from guys that gave everything they had for the time they had it to give, and they deserve to be respected.
Right. And speaking of shout-outs, I was able to catch the Quagmire, and would like to say thanks for Diggin' Freedom, to Diggin' Freedom for the shout-out on the hangout that night. So that was definitely cool as well.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I think we've covered some good information, and, you know, don't quit doing the videos, people. That's certainly not what we're saying. Continue doing them. Continue putting them out there. Continue preserving the history and sharing the finds.
Oh, absolutely. Don't let anybody say, you know what, you should keep that to yourself, which there are people out there that does that, and that just blows me away for somebody to have the mindset. I guess it's no different from having a mindset of, well, just leave it in the ground and let it rot. Okay, well, whatever. That's not going to happen. But
Right.
you know what? If we don't have your YouTube channel, join Beyond Sight and Sound, share it in the
Yep.
chat, put it out there so we can find it, because we're going to watch it. We'd be glad to watch, you know, ours. Spread mine out there. Spread
Yeah.
Josh's, spread Tar Heel, spread everybody's. Let's all work together, because everybody that sees these videos, man, they'll have a whole new insight on what's really going on out there. And it brings attention to the history that a lot of people have forgotten about. I can go ask my kids how much of the Civil War they've learned about in school. I get nothing. And I'm like, you're kidding me.
Right.
It's wrong.
And it goes
Yeah.
to show, too, another thing is that it only takes one to make us all look bad.
It
So
does.
when we're doing these videos and we're putting them out there and we're keeping the hobby in a good light, that's just making us better armed to display the hobby in the way that we do, to show that we're doing things the right way. We all are, in fact, ambassadors of the hobby because of the way we're conducting ourselves, the way we're carrying ourselves, the way we hunt, the way we preserve the history, and the way that we help others by sharing those videos. Because the newcomers in the hobby, that's much like Swansea said, you know, I went to YouTube and I was seeing videos like yours, like Kenny's, like, Stealth Diggers, whoever, you know, Frank from Detect America. And, you know, that's where I'm getting these ideas of the techniques to use, the machines I may want to use, how to identify finds.
Right. I mean, the videos show you more than just a video. I mean, there's some people that's learning how to, for example, how to properly dig that hole or that plug. Because if you're in somebody's yard, it's different than if you're in the woods. Yes, you still cover both holes, but there's a different technique. For myself, if I'm in somebody's yard, I have a piece of canvas, I have a towel or something, because I want to replace the exact dirt that came out of that exact hole.
That's
And,
right. Leave it
you know,
just as good, if not better.
That's right. And that's the key to keeping on, because let me tell you, that landowner's going to say, hey, this guy, you know, hey, he took care of mine. Hey, he even threw me a bullet, which I've done that. So everybody keep doing what you're doing. It's been a good topic tonight. And don't forget to rate Don't forget to hit the hands over there in the corner to like the show. We enjoy everything that has to do with this hobby.
Absolutely. And as I said, if you haven't made it over to the domain beyondsightandsound.com and got yourself registered, might want to get over there this weekend, maybe as soon as Saturday. I will take all registered members and put them into a random drawing for a copper bullion round.
Right. So. And somebody else, too. Go check out some of KS Hollywood's videos. Go check out L.A. Gold's videos. L.A. Relic Hunter.
KS Hollywood just posted the video again the other night of where they had to kill that rattlesnake that they had just about set right on.
I'm different there, and you do what you got to do, but I relocate. That's what I do. But I'm from the mountains, and that's just how I handle things. But you know what? Sometimes if I got a rattlesnake out in my yard, my kids are playing, he's dead.
Yeah. So sometimes you don't have that option.
Right. But check out those guys, man. You know, and like I say, get yourself, if you're not in this group already, you're more than welcome to join. And like Josh said, we have the domain. We have a lot of things coming up. We have great guests coming up. And if you have a topic that you would love to hear that we have not covered, feel free to let us know.
That's right. And, check out Digging Freedom. He's got some good videos up, too. And I think we're pretty much at the end of our rope for the night.
I think so. So.
For all the, I've got some cats fixing to battle here in the background, I guess. So for all the people who did drop in, thanks for dropping in once again. If you enjoyed the show, rate the channel, and tune in next week. Until then, stay persistent, don't get discouraged, keep sharing the history, and get out there and dig something.
Absolutely. Have a good week.
We'll see you next week, folks. Take care.